coming, and you thank David, Kaylee, and can I just introduce Bronwyn and me for giving our time. Very much thank you for giving your time, for giving this opportunity for us to have a conversation. It was a terrorist attack, and there's no doubt about that. And the full weight of the justice system in New Zealand will be brought to bear on that terrorist. He murdered 50 people and has hurt and ripped apart families in a way that is unprecedented in our circumstances. I am conscious of that this is an act that is perpetrated across the globe in many ways. Terrorism is a scourge of our time. It has been with humankind for a long time. But I think we are at a point where if a small country like New Zealand can provide an example, if a Prime Minister is called into leadership, then so be it. I think in terms of what happened, and you may hear and people will talk about that this runs counter to the values that we have. And there are values which you will hear about, which are around compassion, around tolerance, around kindness. But there is another layer of values and principles that we in New Zealand live to. And these are values that come from our heritage, our New Zealand heritage. Because whether you arrived as some of my relatives did 1,000 years ago, or 100, 200 years ago, or if you arrived as some did within weeks of that terrible tragedy. Ours is a land of immigrants. Ours is a land where we want and we do welcome people. But we have built a culture in New Zealand around a number of precepts. And I'll mention three. The first is whanaungatanga. The second is manaakitanga. And the third is kotahitanga. So whanaungatanga is around family and the importance of family. And I have been, like you, so honoured to see that element has come out not only in the conversations and the expressions of support by our Prime Minister, but by New Zealanders generally. Tens of thousands of New Zealanders have stood because the community that was attacked, and I'm not going to say the Muslim community, because it's our community. They are us. Our community, which was attacked in what should have been the most safe haven in their mosque, was an attack on our family. So whanaungatanga is the first. The second is manaakitanga. So manaakitanga, mana is prestige, it's respect. And manaakitanga is about preserving that respect. And it's about showing hospitality to guests, so that when they leave, when they go, so when people choose to travel away, they remember the hospitality, the manaaki that has been extended. And then the third one is kotahitanga. Kotahitanga is oneness, it's unity. And if there's something else which has touched me about this, both in New Zealand, but also in terms of you being here, and in terms of the expressions of sympathy and solidarity with New Zealand, that has been something. Let me say that we have in the High Commission here and also elsewhere at home and around the globe we have watched since the attack on Friday at prayers last week. We have watched and seen a whole range of emotions, from people being upset through to people being frustrated about what's happened and what's happening, to people being angry. And they are emotions which we need, and hopefully this meeting and what's happening over this week allows people to exorcise those frustrations, those emotions, because I think it is important. There is certainly, and thank you for acknowledging our Prime Minister and her leadership and the way that she has shown and encouraged New Zealanders across the board to show our respect for our community, for our people who practice the Muslim faith. Thank you for that. But equally, it is incumbent on us to provide support to the families, because some of those families have now been left without a breadwinner. Some of those families have lost children. Some of those families have lost more than one member of their family. And so it is incumbent on us to provide that support. I think also that what we should be gathering in different circumstances. It should not come to a tragedy like the terrorist attack last Friday to bring us together. We should be doing this because that's what people do. And can I just acknowledge the OPWC for the work that it does in helping those of Pakistani origin to both settle here, but also to make their way in life. For us also, for New Zealanders, there are a couple of other things that are important for us. We like to be able to make a connection to place, what we call our tūranga waiwai, our papakainga, so it's where we're from. And we do that so that those who we're speaking to can understand that there is a connection between us, and humanity has connections. If you care to go back far enough, my heritage, like all of us apparently, came out of Africa and into Asia, and for me down into Oceania and New Zealand, but also there's a branch that goes to Mozambique. So, and then in my near heritage, there's European and Mediterranean, and it just goes to show just that we are connected. So why are we perpetrating these terrible acts against each other? Because of notions of exclusivity, supremacy. It doesn't make sense. But for us, it is important that we are able to join with you. And for us, it is important that we we support people. And for us, it is important that we learn out of this terrible tragedy, because we can't afford to be killing one another in the way that we have. Can I just make a comment about the Australian connection? Because I think it is important that it is the individual, it's the terrorist that's at fault. It is he who did this. It is him, that terrorist, who perpetrated the act, who planned it, who went to the mosques and perpetrated the act. But we should also be mindful of the people who tried to stop that terrorism. And I'm aware that there are a number of people who Pakistan will claim, because their heritage is in Pakistan. And I am aware that there is at least one man who but for his actions, there may have been many more killed. And unfortunately, he was killed. So, there are elements of this which, in a way, it's, thank you for giving us the opportunity, and certainly giving me the opportunity to express, those sentiments, because, they do resonate for us. And whilst, there will be some, and according to your custom, have been returned to families and have been able to be buried, there is a process that we want to do properly, so that there is no doubt, there is no way that someone will be able to undermine the activities that our government is intent on doing in terms of bringing this person to justice. And as I say, I know that there will be some families who are concerned because the victim identification process may seem slow. But, for us, mindful of the need to, with culture and with religion, we need to get things organised. There's also, on our side, a determination to make sure that this terrorist is brought to justice and that he suffers the full weight of the law in New Zealand. So thank you again. And we will convey this letter back to New Zealand. But thank you.
Yes, if you can
Your Excellency, thank you.